Welcome back to Team Talks. For only the fourth time in history has a defending Premier League champion lost 4 Premier League matches in a row. We're going to hear now from Arne Slot, who's enduring the worst run of his managerial career so far. But the Liverpool head coach believes his players have what it takes to turn things around.
Yeah, the thing that gives me the most confidence is the quality of the players we are having. So, the amount of chances these players are still creating. So this will eventually always lead to these players scoring more goals than we've done till now. And we have to address certain other things. But yeah, if I talk about that, if I'm speaking about what we have to improve, people then tell me I'm using excuses. So maybe it's better now just to say we need to address certain things.
Yeah, Arne Slot there saying, maybe he doesn't want to keep talking about the reasons why they've lost, because it ranged from everything to the way the opponents were playing against them. Difficult period for him, probably the most difficult of his managerial career. It's a full-blown crisis now.
Yeah, it's getting there. To be the champions, and he must, like last season, he must have thought, what's all the fuss about the Premier League, toughest league in the world? It's easy. He's come in there, wiped everyone aside, they won enough games, they lifted the trophy, everyone was happy, they spent an absolute fortune in the summer market. Yes, they didn't get the defender what they needed, Mark Gay, so they lacked cover there. But they went and got the Isaks, the Ekatikas, Wirtz, top draw players across Europe, and Ekatika is the only one at the moment, all right, mitigating circumstances regarding Alexander Isak because of the injuries. But they're just not settled. They really haven't. And no one's listening to excuses because you can't give any excuses, really. You shouldn't give excuses. It's just not been good enough. I just think you're big players. And whenever we highlight and we show some roles of Liverpool, we always show 2 players, 2 of the massive big players, Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah. Now, we show them for a reason because they are the leaders. They are the 2 best players. Now, it's time, guys, for you to stand up, for everyone else in that dressing room to look. When you're having a bad time, even if you've been successful, you look and you say, where's the leader? You look at your manager, you see how he's coping with it. I'm not sure you're too enamelled when he's coming out in press conference saying, we can't deal with the long balls. Teams sit on a low block, the long throws. He's almost telling the opposition how to play against us. But I think it's time for them 2 guys on the pitch, Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk, to stand up and lead the rest of them. They're capable of doing it. They've done it before, and I think they will do it again. There's no doubt in my mind it will click sooner rather than later, and they're capable of going 15 games without getting beat. I'm sure of that. If you ask Mikel Arteta at the moment, who are the favourites to go and win it, and Pep Guardiola, they'll be looking over his shoulder, looking for a red shirt. In Liverpool, it'll be the time. They'll be the team. They'll be the team who will come with a run. You cannot win the title now in October, November, but you can certainly lose it. You'd be too far behind, and they're going that way at the moment. They need a result for their life at the moment.
Yeah, I think, when we just had in the bottom left of the screen there, the bigger picture, which is 6 defeats in the last 7. And what was scary was them losing to Crystal Palace in midweek as well, and the way in which they lost. And Arne Slot talking about lacking depth and not having enough depth. He made 10 changes to that side, 6 teenagers starting in that game, featuring in that game. Just tell me about the team that he put out.
I have to say I have 0 concerns about that team. And I think if you look at their fixture list, you understand why. An informed Aston Villa side in this game week, they are the most informed side at the moment. 4 wins in the Premier League in a row. No team has that many. And Real Madrid, red hot Real Madrid next week with Trent Alexander-Arnold coming back to town. It would be insane for Liverpool to play a strong side when you have 2 tough games coming up. You want to be able to keep petrol in the tank and your options open, not just physically, but mentally as well. You started off this chat by talking about Slot and the fact that he didn't want to talk too much about the reasons. And I understand why, because in PR terms, anything he says is used as an excuse against him. And in many respects, he can't win. So I think he's got really good advice in that regard. I do think when you talk about the bigger picture, people suddenly forget all about what happened in the summer with Diogo Jota. I remember doing an interview with an ex-Arsenal player, Bakary Sagna, when he said he'd lost his brother. When he lost his brother, he thought he could continue playing. And the simple things, the basic things, he couldn't do them. And it was only when a psychologist took him to one side and said to him, I can't see it, you're not, there's nothing there, that he realised he had to take some time away. And for all of the support we gave as a footballing community, as a planet, to Liverpool, I feel as though it's gone out the window and everyone's just judging them on football. But the players that were there, they had to stop and actually prioritise their own emotional well-being and the support of Jota's family. The players that arrived, as Tim will tell you, good players going into a side that is thriving will fly. Players who go into sides that are not doing very well, that aren't at it, they're going to struggle. Add to that the fact that Isak went on strike to force a move to Liverpool. That's a problem. Add to that fact that even if you are playing for Bournemouth, like Kirkesh was, and then you make the step up to a superpower like Liverpool, it's a big step. Regardless of your playing in world football, Liverpool are a superpower. So there are a combination of things. There is no single answer as to why they're struggling. But I just think that to criticise a guy who dealt with Trent, who dealt with Van Dijk, who dealt with Salah last season, who dealt with coming into a new league and adapting to a club that had a national treasure, even though he was German, in Jurgen Klopp, and managing to make such a success of it, and then to turn around and say, oh, I don't know about him anymore. Crazy.
Yeah, very well said, actually, Darren, because people forget that grief isn't linear. And they look at the first 5 games of the season and say, they won the 5 then. But I think everyone agreed that Liverpool were not at their sparkling best even then. I want to bring it back around to Tim and just go back through the 10 changes he made in midweek, because I think you have an experience somehow in your managerial past where you've had to make a decision with, a League Cup in midweek or a cup game in midweek. And
yeah, a little bit different. I was at Aston Villa at the time, and the priority always was just to stay in the league. And it shows you how far Villa have come. And I needed the confidence, so I needed the result. And no matter what competition it was in, I wanted the boys to play and win. So I would play a strong side, I really would, because I think a win's a win and the momentum and the mood around the training ground becomes better. And I remember someone on the executive side at Aston Villa knocked on my door the day before one of the games and said, don't worry about tomorrow, it's a League Cup game, it's not important. It was the 4th round, similar stage to where we are now. Said it's not really that important, this game, because the priority has to be the Premier League, rest the players for the weekend. I just said, listen, I'm the manager. I'm picking the team what I feel is correct for the game. And Aston Villa's fans out there will be amazed that it was actually Birmingham we were playing in the next round of the Cup. Now, I could not believe that someone was actually speaking to me on them terms, on football terms. It's a rivalry which is very strong. It is the biggest rivalry in the Midlands. I could not play a group of kids against Birmingham at home at Villa Park, and it would have just bred negativity and more negativity around the club. So I made a conscious decision, no, we're going to play, we're going to win the game, and we're going to springboard from there. And I just think a win's a win. I disagree slightly. I don't think he should play his full strength side, but I think he could have played a team capable of beating Crystal Palace without playing, your full strength, rest certain players, but be a little bit more competitive than that. Because as soon as them team sheets come in, I could tell you who's going to win that football match. And I looked at that. They could not compete with that Palace side, and Palace are going well at the moment, and they're very good away from home, and they're a good cup side. They won the FA Cup last year, and they're going to, go really deep into this competition as well.
Liverpool head into their Premier League clash against Aston Villa at Anfield on November 1 under intense pressure after a disastrous run of form that has severely undermined their title defense. Having lost 4 consecutive league games and 6 of their last 7 across all competitions, the champions look far from the dominant force they were at the start of the season. In team news, manager Arne Slot will have to manage significant absences. Key players such as Alisson Becker, Jeremy Frimpong, and Giovanni Lo Celso remain sidelined. However, the return of midfielder Ryan Gravenberch to training offers a glimmer of hope ahead of the Villa match. Despite this, forward Alexander Isak and midfielder Curtis Jones are 99.9% certain to miss the game, sapping further depth. Tactically, Liverpool's downfall has been characterized by poor defensive transitions and sluggish reaction to opponents' long ball strategies. They have conceded the most long passes of any Premier League side this season. Opponents are exploiting Liverpool's high line and lack of cohesion in rest defense. Against Villa, who have found momentum under Unai Emery with 4 successive league wins, the Reds cannot afford further lapses. Villa's attacking unit, despite some injuries, remains sharp and will look to penalize any sign of weakness at Anfield. This match isn't just 3 points. It's about restoring confidence, salvaging pride, and arresting a worrying trend. Slot's rotation choices in recent cup games have come under fire, and many pundits suggest he needs to reinforce structure and discipline immediately. Failure to do so could mean not only a collapse in the title race, but also further erosion of belief within the squad. Liverpool must show urgency. The Villa game may mark the turning point of their campaign.